Welcome to Yahoo Finance Sports Report, a unique look at the business of sports, brought to you by Yahoo Finance and Yahoo Sports. I'm your host, Joe Pompliano, and I'm here to coach you through the financial game. We'll look beyond the headlines, analyze all the latest sports news, the teams, trades, and billion-dollar deals, so you and your portfolio will win big. This week, we're talking about unrivaled success in year one. The Buffalo Bills plan to host the NFL Draft, and Wrexham AFC's impressive financials. I'll also be joined by 23XI Racing's Denny Hamlin and Robinhood's Steve Quirk to discuss their recently announced partnership. Let's huddle up and get right into it. All right, it's time for this week's Pomps Playbook, where I take a look at some of the biggest headlines in sports that you and your portfolio need to know. Let's kick things off with Unrivaled's impressive inaugural season. Unrivaled, the new 3-on-3 women's basketball league, reported over $27 million in revenue during its first season, nearly achieving a break-even point. This financial success is largely attributed to a lucrative media rights deal with TNT Sports and a lineup of corporate partners. These deals allowed the league to invest over $7 million in player salaries, offering an average of $200,000 to its 36 founding athletes. Throughout the season, Unrivaled averaged 221,000 viewers for regular season and playoff games. Notably, the championship game between Rose BC and Vinyl BC attracted 364,000 viewers, while the February 14th matchup between the Lunar Owls and Mist peaked at 377,000 viewers. Merchandise sales contributed significantly to the total, generating approximately $1.4 to $1.5 million. This boost followed a licensing agreement with the WNBA Players Union, enabling Unrivaled to sell player-specific merchandise. And to further capitalize on this revenue stream, league executives aim to increase efficiency with the goal of potentially doubling or tripling merchandise sales next year. Ticket sales also played a crucial role, with the league hosting games in their 850-seat arena and selling out each of them, surpassing 7 figures in ticket revenue. Plans are already underway to increase seating capacity by removing certain areas to accommodate more fans, thereby boosting ticket sales next year. And looking ahead, Unrivaled intends to expand its reach by hosting games in 2 additional cities beyond its Miami base. Adjustments to roster sizes and player strategies are also being considered to optimize team performance and maintain the league's competitive edge. Next up, let's discuss the Buffalo Bills pushing for the 2029 NFL Draft. The Buffalo Bills are actively pursuing the opportunity to host the future NFL Draft at their new venue, Highmark Stadium, set to open in the summer of 2026. Chief Operating Officer Pete Gulley revealed during the recent NFL meetings that the organization has been in regular communication with the league, emphasizing Buffalo's potential as a prime location for the event. The team has formally applied to host the draft in either 2028 or 2029, with 2029 appearing more feasible given the preparations required. To gain insight into organizing such a large-scale event, the Bills plan to send representatives to Green Bay, which, as a comparable small-market city, is hosting the draft this year. This initiative aligns with the NFL's recent trend of awarding major events to cities that invest in new stadiums. While hosting a Super Bowl in Buffalo is unlikely due to the cold weather and the stadium's open design, securing the NFL Draft would be a significant achievement for the team and the community. The new Highmark Stadium is being constructed directly across from the current facility on Abbott Road in Orchard Park. Once the new stadium is operational, the existing one is scheduled for demolition in March 2027. Nothing is guaranteed, but the Bills didn't build a new $2 billion stadium for nothing. My guess is they will eventually get themselves an NFL Draft. And let's close out Pomps Playbook today with Alex Ovechkin breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time NHL goal record. This past Sunday, Washington Capitals captain Alex Ovechkin made NHL history by scoring his 895th career goal during a matchup against the New York Islanders at UBS Arena. This significant milestone allowed Ovechkin to surpass Wayne Gretzky's long-standing NHL record of 894 goals, solidifying his legacy as the league's all-time goal scorer. Anticipation for this historic achievement dramatically impacted ticket prices, leading to an unprecedented demand. Standing room only tickets soared to $229 each, while lower level seats commanded prices exceeding $30,000 in some cases. Even less desirable nosebleed seats still fetched around $500, with premium lower bowl seats ranging between $700 to $2,800. Ovechkin's record-breaking feat also substantially boosted interest in his collectibles. The Islanders, recognizing the event's historic nature, offered attendees the option of purchasing physical tickets for $45 each, catering to collectors and fans seeking tangible memorabilia. Fanatics also quickly capitalized on this milestone by launching a series of exclusive items, including autographed pucks, framed photographs, and commemorative apparel specifically celebrating goal number 895. Upper Deck also released a limited edition Great Moments trading card set, capturing pivotal moments throughout Ovechkin's illustrious career. This combination of surging ticket prices and collectible sales underscores the profound market impact resulting from Ovechkin's record-setting achievement, marking an extraordinary moment in sports history with lasting effects on the sports memorabilia market. This week for the deeper dive, where I give you a play-by-play analysis of news in the sports world and its significance to your bottom line, we're talking about the A's and Rays moving to minor league ballparks this season. Now, it's no secret that the Tampa Bay Rays and the Athletics, two of MLB's small market teams, face unique stadium challenges in 2025. The Rays are temporarily relocating due to hurricane damage, while the Athletics have moved after failing to secure a new stadium deal in Oakland. Tropicana Field, home of the Rays, sustained severe damage from Hurricane Milton, losing its fiberglass roof and other critical infrastructure. Although some people suggested playing without the roof, persistent rain and inadequate drainage systems made that impossible. That's why the Rays struck a $15 million one-year lease with the Yankees to use George M. Steinbrenner Field, a recently renovated spring training facility in Tampa for the 2025 season. This stadium was recently upgraded with a $50 million renovation, but it still seats just 10,000 fans, significantly fewer than Tropicana Field's 25,000 seats, or the Rays' average 2024 attendance of 16,500. To ensure readiness, Rays groundkeepers shadowed Yankee staff during spring training games, familiarizing themselves with the facility's irrigation and even field covering systems because obviously it doesn't rain inside their dome. However, the real challenge began after the Yankees' last spring training game on March 23rd. With just 4 days until opening day, a team of 80 Rays employees and over 50 contractors converted the stadium, replacing all of the Yankees' logos, signage, converting the locker rooms, and even improving broadcast infrastructure for regular season games. While revenue losses from reduced seating and fewer concessions are significant, MLB has tried its best to mitigate these issues. MLB has adjusted game times in June from 7:05 p.m. to 7:35 p.m. to help avoid rain delays, especially since Tampa received over 80 inches of rain last year. Additionally, the Rays will play 37 of their first 54 games at Steinbrenner Field, minimizing weather disruptions. Meanwhile, the Athletics relocated from Oakland after 57 seasons due to unresolved stadium negotiations, temporarily settling at Sacramento's Sutter Health Park for at least 3 seasons with an option for a 4th before their stadium is ready in Las Vegas. Unlike the Rays, the A's shared this minor league stadium with the Sacramento River Cats, meaning the facility will host over 150 games this season. Sutter Health Park, seating just 14,000 compared to the Oakland Coliseum's 47,000, is notably smaller, but suitable given the Athletics' historically low attendance. In fact, season tickets for 2025 have already sold out, with a waitlist for 2026. Recognizing the extended timeline, the Athletics invested significantly in upgrades. They built a new 2-story clubhouse, enhanced with modern facilities such as a cafeteria, weight room, sauna, and cryotherapy chambers. Dugouts, bullpens, and hitting tunnels also received renovations, and the Athletics even installed a much larger video board in the outfield. However, there are some challenges. Opening night saw a scoreboard outage. No clubhouse to dugout tunnel forces players to pass through a gate in left field, and press conferences occur in a makeshift shed that shakes in the wind. Visiting players, like Cubs reliever Ryan Brasser, openly criticized playing at a minor league stadium when a major league facility in Oakland was still available. Despite these issues, though, the Athletics' revenue should remain stable due to strong ticket sales. Still, uncertainties loom regarding their long-term Las Vegas stadium plans. The A's lease in Sacramento is temporary, and construction delays in Las Vegas could soon raise concerns about the franchise's future. We've made it to the one-on-one, a conversation where I get to break down news and sports with a key player in the industry. This week for my one-on-one, I'm joined by 23XI's Denny Hamlin and Robinhood's Steve Quirk. Welcome to the show, Denny and Steve. Congrats, guys, on this new partnership that you recently announced, and appreciate both of you joining the show today. Steve, maybe we'll start with you on Robinhood's side. I know Robinhood has been doing more marketing in sports over the last number of years, particularly in the NBA, but I'm curious from your aspect, why NASCAR? What excited you about doing some business in NASCAR?
Sure. Thanks for having us. Robinhood's relatively new to sports marketing. What we've done thus far has been largely regional. We started with one NBA team, the Wizards, and then we worked to 2 more, the Grizzlies and the Heat. But this is really the first instance where we're doing something that I'll call more on a more national scale, with 23XI. And I think what excites us about it is, like, when we look at the alignment of our customer base, we're about 25 million customers. Average age is just over 30, very diverse. But they're very passionate about, their investing and their investments. And they're very passionate about sports. And in particular, they're very passionate about NASCAR. They would be 4 times as likely to be NASCAR fans as a non-Robinhood client. So it's really a very natural progression for us to move into this realm. And I think, the way that 2311 operates and just the way that they're pursuing their success is very similar to, I think, what our customers resonates with our customers. So, well, we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, and Denny, you've obviously sat in sort of a unique spot over the last number of years as being a driver, obviously, and incredibly successful there, but also now a team owner. So you've sort of seen both sides of this, right? As the driver, kind of wearing the sponsorships and dealing with that on a day to day basis, but now as a team owner, probably more involved on the business side and brokering more of these deals as well. What is the kind of divide between that? Like, is there anything that surprised you from the ownership level when you started looking at sort of brokering some of these deals rather than on the driver side?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the difference has been very, very big because as a driver of the 11 car for Joe Gibbs Racing, which I do on Sundays, my responsibility is solely to be the driver of that car and do the best that I can behind the wheel and kind of show everything that they did to make that car fast. And I have to go out there and execute it. As a team owner, what I've learned about the sports marketing side, right, and the sponsorship side is that how do these companies find value, right? It's more than just a logo that's on a car, right? There's way more that goes into it. How do you activate that at the racetrack? How do you engage your core fans? How do you engage new fans? And making sure that our partners find value in the sponsorship that they do with the race teams and the relationships that it builds, and also beyond that, what kind of B2B can we connect between our partners? And so that's always been a big part of it. And companies like Robinhood who have a very similar fan base as what ours is, especially at 2311, that we're a younger, more diverse fan base than any other race team. The numbers prove that. And so that is their core users, and it certainly lines up perfectly with what we had.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it's sort of this weird dilemma where I feel like a lot of times you're kind of pitching brands about why they should partner with you, right? You're going to
Right.
get this exposure. These are the assets you're going to be able to get. But 2311 is sort of in a unique spot too, where you have this cool brand. You're obviously partnering with Michael Jordan. I imagine a lot of brands want to be associated with that because of it. It sort of goes both ways for sure. But I'm curious what kind of elements or details you look for in brands, and particularly when it comes to someone like Robinhood.
Well, I think the really important thing that happens first is, Michael's group, and their whole business side, and the business side of 2311 thinks about, does this align with what our values are? Is this company aligned with us and what we're about? And it was very easy with Robinhood to say yes. But really beyond that, it's yeah, there's some connections that happen through that relationship with Michael. He has his own brands that he brings to the table, and like, how can we form up a partnership here? How can they help the race team? And then beyond that, it's you got to have cars that are fast, and you got to have ones that run up front because those are the ones that are getting exposure. And so we have done a really good job in just 5 years building a championship contending organization in such a short amount of time, and that alone has helped us open a lot of doors for us with new partners over the last few years.
Yeah, and Steve, you were talking a little bit earlier about how Robinhood has been more active and started to build out this sports marketing division at a higher scale. How is Robinhood measuring success of the partnerships, but also activations that you're doing?
I think we met what we're a very data driven company. So that's why we sort of have been slowly moving into these partnerships because we want to make sure that they resonate with our customer base, our current customer base. But there's also an opportunity to create awareness and consideration with future customers, which we've been pretty successful in doing in the partnerships that we have, and we anticipate we'll be very successful doing here as well. I think the alignment that Denny was talking about, it's really strong because what Robinhood has been very successful doing is opening the door to the greatest wealth creation vehicle on the planet, which is the U.S. marketplace. And, we sit at like close to 60% of U.S. households are now in the market. Now, you can argue that could be a good or bad thing with the last couple days, but in general, for people, when they start investing at a younger age, in the long run, 99 times out of 100, it's going to benefit them. And so creating the opportunities, creating financial literacy, and then partnering with firms like 2311 that also want to open the door to many more fans of NASCAR is kind of cool, actually.
We've got to take a quick break, but we'll be back with more of my conversation with Denny and Steve right after this. Welcome back to Yahoo Finance Sports Report. I'm your host, Joe Pompliano. I'm here with Denny Hamlin and Steve Quirk. And Denny, maybe this is a question for you, given you're staying in the sport over such a long time period. But I've always been curious how the paint schemes work. Like, who's deciding those? Are there specific rules that you can and can't do things?
Well, it is interesting, and it's different with each partner. Some of them like to have their own interior designers to make sure their logo looks a certain way. It's very, very different because the logo is going on a car, right? And that car has shapes and movement. And, how can there's a very big difference between creating an effective billboard and creating an effective paint scheme on a race car. The two are very, very different. So it's got to come from a combination of both the team and the brand to figure out what still aligns with, their kind of their palette and their logo itself, and then what will you see when it's on the racetrack. And so it's a very unique thing. It's kind of a blank canvas that you can start from scratch, but you got to have certain things in certain places for it to show up when you got 40 other cars around you racing. So I have no question that the neon green is just going to be fantastic on that race car.
And are these?
I could tell you a quick funny story. I got to spend a day doing some media with Bubba, and he told me that his spotter is going to love it because he'll be able to park that car very easily.
That's right.
Yeah, and Denny, so I call it a paint scheme. I think that's how most people refer to it.
Yep.
But is it actually paint or is it a wrap?
No, it's a wrap. It was paint for many, many decades ago, but the series itself has transitioned into wraps probably, I don't know, 7-8 years ago, somewhere in that range. They just found
Is
that
that because
lighter.
of weight, or is it? Yeah, it's weight.
Yeah, it's a little bit lighter and certainly a lot easier to just rip off. And we reuse these cars. We only get 7 cars per season per team, but as you wreck them, you get new ones. But that one car will probably race a matter of 4 or 5 times throughout the year, and so we got to be able to flip them over and get it ready for the next race pretty quickly.
All right, so Steve doesn't get to keep Bubba's car when the race is over. He's got to give it back.
I mean,
hopefully I get to keep the
victory
wrap.
lane. Yeah, if he takes it to victory lane, it might be a keeper. So we have done that.
I love that. Steve, real quick, you mentioned earlier about some of the data, specifically with 2311 racing and NASCAR in general. Can you just explain that a little bit around the data and the trends that you guys are seeing, maybe with NASCAR as a whole and then 2311, that got you interested in partnering with the team, but also the sport?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think I mentioned this, but we know, we have a pretty good relationship with our customers and we understand their interests. And as I mentioned, they're 4 times as likely to be NASCAR fans as a non-Robinhood customer. But then we look at consideration and then we measure, their involvement and their passion for those brands, and ours included. And I think that's what we look at. And then we kind of look at opportunities. So like, are there specific opportunities when we're the primary? I think we're the primary for 4 races where, we have a suite of products in our offering outside of investing. We have a credit card, we have some banking, we have yield products, we have a retirement account. And are there opportunities for product specific things when we do have a primary at one of these races? And I think we'll measure that. and determine, the success of being able to attract new customers there or engage the customers of ours that are already there watching to do more with us.
Have you already started thinking about potential paint schemes, Steve?
The paint scheme,
Yeah.
it's already in the works. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when
Well,
is
see,
the
it's
first
not
race?
paint. Remember, it's not paint. Right?
Yeah, wrap.
But
The first one you guys
Joe
are
does
doing
not
is
have
next
to play.
month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kansas. Yep. We do Kansas, Chicago, Bristol, and Vegas.
Amazing. Those are 4 good races. Well,
Yeah.
thank you all so much
I'm
for
in
joining
Chicago
us.
right now, so yeah.
Are you? Yeah. Well, this is awesome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and congrats on the partnership. I look forward to seeing the I would call it a paint scheme, but the wrap in Kansas and the other races as well. The clock is winding down here, but we have just enough time for some final buzz. So let's talk about everyone's favorite Welsh soccer club, Wrexham AFC. Wrexham AFC, co-owned by actors Ryan Reynolds and Rob McIlhenny, experienced substantial financial growth in the 2023-24 season, with annual revenue reaching approximately $34.4 million, up 155% from about $13.5 million the previous year. This dramatic increase is largely driven by the club's expanding international popularity, particularly in North America, thanks to the successful documentary series Welcome to Wrexham. Over half of total revenues now come from outside the UK, with North America representing over 52% of the total. Despite revenue growth, Wrexham reported a net loss of around $3.5 million, improved from approximately $6.5 million in losses the previous year. The wage bill rose significantly to about $14.2 million, reflecting increased investment in player salaries. Commercial income soared to roughly $17 million from $2.5 million the previous year, while matchday revenue increased to $6.5 million, up from $4 million the previous year. On the field, Wrexham earned their second straight promotion, returning to League One after 19 years, and currently competing strongly for promotion to the Championship, a league they last participated in during 1982. Additionally, Wrexham repaid approximately $20 million in loans and interest to Reynolds and McIlhenny, becoming debt-free. Plans to redevelop their stadium, the racecourse ground, with a new Cop Stand expansion have been approved. The women's team has also progressed significantly, reaching the FAW Cup final and becoming semi-professional. And now, Reynolds and McIlhenny are currently seeking additional investors to support future Premier League ambitions. We're all out of time, so it's officially game over for this week. Thank you so much to Denny, Hamlin, and Steve Quirk, and all of you for joining us. Make sure to tune into Yahoo Finance Sports Reports on Thursdays at 5 p.m. wherever you get your podcasts. I'm your host, Joe Pompliano. See you next time.
This content was not intended to be financial advice and should not be used as a substitute for professional financial services.